everyone, I'm Captain Logan.
I'm Eric.
And today we're going to tell you how we felt about the Child's Play remake, a movie that I was on the fence about even seeing. I felt weird about this one, Eric. I am not good at, even when I feel like I should, boycott a thing or, refuse to support a thing, sometimes I get really curious, and then I have this almost, existential crisis where, I feel really bad for, supporting a thing that I think is, wrong and shouldn't exist, but then I kept talking about this, and then I was like, I'm kind of too curious. I kind of feel like I should review it after I've been talking about it so much.
This situation is weird.
It's really weird.
Because I didn't have a strong moral opposition to this film because he's still getting to make Chucky on Netflix or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
So, it's like they took it away from him. He's still making what he's making. So, I didn't have that. I don't know, it didn't seem as big a deal to me. I guess it sucks for that guy, but, does it? He's still getting to make Chucky stuff.
Well, that's true, but if this was really popular, then it's now he's got competition from, his own, but not in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, I don't...
to hear him tell it, I get why he is angry, but then, the more I thought about it, it was... I don't know, I was, like I said, I was kind of two minds about it.
This is one of the least offensive, creative things that we've done. It's still not cool, but this isn't the worst one that we've done.
It's almost more of, not in, messing with a creator or anything.
Yeah.
But it's almost like a Power Rangers 2017 kind of situation, where it's if you love the original Chucky continuity, which does continue to go on, and you see this and you hate it, who cares? Because, it's... The original continuity is still there. It's
it's still going.
This is a reboot of that first movie, but it's not a reboot of the franchise.
According to Wikipedia, this is the only other film in the Child's Play franchise.
Isn't that weird? You would... those movies are called Child's Play until you get to Bride of Chucky. How come the rights issues have anything to do with the way it's listed? I don't understand that. On Wikipedia. That's an aside, but it's weird.
Yep.
Anyway, so Child's Play remake is an update to the initial premise. When we first heard about this, you and I were both kind of speculating about how in the world you'd even update this. It was is it... Because we figured that for the sake of, familiar iconography, and obviously you make a thing like this almost solely because of brand recognition. So you're going to want the stuff that people remember. You're going to have to make the doll look something like it did. We just don't make stuff like that anymore. So
and he also...
you and I thought that maybe it would be a doll from the 80s that shows back up. That somebody pulls out of a box or something. And we do a straight up update of this.
Almost to the point aesthetically where I think if you showed it to me, even with his clothes, I wouldn't go, oh, that's Chucky. Really? He doesn't look like Chucky. Chucky's really distinct, and, I think at best I would be I guess that kind of looks like Chucky a little, but, it doesn't look like Chucky.
There are places in the face where it seems like we have almost these, money moments where it's we want to make it look more like it did originally. Mm-hmm. He's got his, he's got his, human moments and his robot moments.
Mm-hmm. When he smiles is the most he looks like Chucky, but even then,
Well, and when he's angry.
Yeah, because he does the eyebrow thing.
Yes, he does the eyebrow thing.
But still, just to say, if this doll existed and you showed it to me, even in the Chucky clothes, I wouldn't think Chucky, I don't think.
So this is really interesting premise-wise as a remake because it's the same premise, but it's not.
I don't think it's the same premise at all.
Well, it's the same premise in that
a toy is alive.
It's a toy that's evil and kills everything, and tries to kill everyone and goes after the kid.
This has more in common with Small Soldiers than it does Child's Play.
That's hilarious. But what's weird about it is the premise is very different. That was a fantasy thing. This is more of a science fiction thing.
Yeah.
If it even is the AI component, because it's an AI component instead of a possession.
And he's not evil. The original Chucky is a serial killer. This is
that possesses the doll in the first. Yeah.
This is like an Isaac Asimov horror story where he just cares about Andy too much.
Or is just has messed up programming, and you can use that to explain anything.
Which is dumb, because the guy doesn't alter his programming. He just removes the safety things. He shouldn't be glitching out and things, I don't think.
No, so this is a really, really absurd movie. And it starts from that place, so at least it's consistent, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it reminded me of, like, taking off the safety protocols in the holodeck in Star Trek, where it's like, why do you have that in the first place? Like, there are safety things in place to make sure that the thing doesn't murder people. Maybe you shouldn't put that product out. Like, you'd think that it's like the people who programmed the doll knew this was possible, and they put in safety protocols to make sure that it didn't go haywire and go murder anyone. But you'd think, because I thought this whole movie was going to be more of your standard, like, sci-fi AI, like, how does the robot become alive? Mm-hmm. You know, like, become self-aware? And it has that a little bit, but it's kind of more like, we just have these, like, things in place to make sure that doesn't happen. And then you're like, well, this is really advanced technology, technology.
Because the implication is that all of these toys are this sophisticated, They just don't kill people and swear.
Yeah, and they, like, have to dumb down the sophistication so that they're kind of just helper robots for kids and a fun a doll aesthetic to put on top of your smart home.
But I get the impression, like, well, I guess I don't get the impression because we don't really see any of the other dolls, but, like, they all have to be this sentient, right? The only thing we turn off is violence and language protocols.
Well, I get that impression, and I don't want to give anything away, but I get that impression from the way the film ends. Mm-hmm. The last shot of the movie tells you what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, it's just, I don't think this premise works. I feel like there's a lot of holes. There is in the original Child's Play as well. But it has a lot of fun with it. But I am asking a lot of questions while watching. I'm like,
oh, absolutely.
I'm like, so wait, this is this?
But, and we'll get to sign flips here in a second. What I find so fascinating about this as a remake is it is kind of a totally different premise.
It's like remake by the title, right?
It's a totally different premise, but the title still makes perfect sense with it. It's just kind of about different things when you kind of look at how that title plays in the film. Mm-hmm. But the comedic sensibilities are the same. Mm-hmm. And like tonally, like, a lot of its sensibilities are a lot like that. And the way it's shot is a lot like that film.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like,
especially Child's Play 2. Because it knows Child's Play 2 is a better movie. Mm-hmm. You can tell with the way it's shot, and you can tell with the third act. Because
the third act is much closer to Child's Play 2.
It's much closer to Child's Play 2, and they love that last scene as much as I do. In the factory. It doesn't take place in a factory, but it's a very similar kind of situation.
And there's a lot of stuff I think are homages to other 80s horror movies. Mm-hmm. I swear there is a shot that is the poster to Batteries Not Included.
Interesting.
I meant to look that up before we recorded just to see if I'm right. But, like, it's shot like exactly like the poster to Batteries Not Included.
But I feel like a lot of that kind of stuff was almost subtle. Like, it doesn't feel like it's just leaning constantly on nostalgia.
No, it just feels like maybe the movie appreciates some of that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how
you
I
can see
feel
what the
about...
influences are, and you're right, there are homages, but it's a modern film.
I don't know how I feel about Chucky, where his killer instinct comes from.
Yeah, sure.
But that could also be a meta-commentary on Chucky just being, like, another slasher franchise, and, like...
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's there. But I wasn't sure about that being, like, the way we got to that place.
I wrote that off as a conceit.
Okay.
That it was just, he's got to go evil somehow, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on it so that it's not bogged down in, like, the rules of mythology or anything. It's just, he's... Like some disgruntled guy in a factory messes with the programming. Go.
But it's... No, that's not what I was talking about. I mean what makes him kill.
Well, yeah.
They're watching Texas Chainsaw 2.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel
You're
about...
the influences that lead him to doing that.
I think it's weird to make a horror movie where, like, the killer, and this is a remake of a pre-existing horror movie, is influenced by a different horror movie.
I don't have a problem with it because, see, I think you're reading that a little bit too much. I don't think that's why he kills. I think that's why he kills the way he kills. Like, he's getting influences from that, but again, without giving too much away, remember that he's already violent before that. That just gives him, but like, he doesn't even need that for the knife, right? Because there's an obligatory thing that gives him that idea, even before that.
Yeah.
So anyway, but we're getting mired in details.
Yeah.
Eric, how did you feel about this movie?
I think it's a lot of fun. It's a lot more. It has really fun, inventive kills, and like it's a real like R-rated horror movie. Also, the Chucky animatronic is really impressive.
Yeah.
For the budget they're working on, and
you said 10 million.
10 million. It's really expressive, and it. I know it was in the '80s too, kind of. That first movie wasn't great, but the second movie, I think they got it all worked out.
But like the animatronics.
Yeah, but we made animatronics back then.
Yeah.
Like, you could get guys that worked on other movies to come and make an animatronic. We don't make animatronics anymore.
Well, in this, like, the doll could have been completely CG, and a lot of people would have accepted it, and I really appreciated that it was.
Yeah, me too. Especially on a $10 million budget.
There may have been CG enhancements, I'm not sure, but it always feels like it's really there.
Mm-hmm. And then maybe some, like, the facial movements, but I'm not sure. But no, I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought Aubrey Plaza did a really good job at being a not exactly good, but not exactly bad mom. Well, she cares about it
entirely unsympathetic, but she's kind of an idiot.
Yeah.
She doesn't make good choices.
No.
But I also think there's a chemistry between her and the kid. Like, I like them. And the movie knows that she's not making good choices. And there are certainly some consequences.
But she's also not the typical, like, bad mom in a horror movie.
Yeah.
Like, she genuinely actually cares about her child. She's just kind of a screw-up.
Yeah.
And I thought she played that really well. Because those people exist, and I've met a lot of them, where, like, they're not a good parent, but they're not a bad parent. Like, they're in that middle place where it's like, you're doing your best.
Yeah, it plays with a lot of those horror cliches, and they come from those places, but it didn't feel cynical to me.
No, except the stuff with the boyfriend, but that's not even cynical as much as it's cliche.
Yeah, exactly.
Although that didn't go as far as I thought it was going to go.
It just, like, creates a character that you're supposed to want to die so much, but it goes so far where I'm like, he was never a person.
Not as much as the second guy, the second person that gets killed.
That guy was Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
And the cameras? Anyway.
Yeah.
But no,
nuts. I thought it was a lot of fun. I think the first act might be a little long. I feel like maybe we wait a little long to get to the actual killing. But it's a lot of fun. I think it's a pretty good cast. I like the kids. I like Paperboy from Atlanta. I like Aubrey Plaza. It's a movie I feel like I could pick apart like really easily, but so are most horror movies. Like Child's Play is also like that. But no, I thought it was fun. It was good. I'm feeling it.
I think it's self-aware about the fact that it doesn't. That it's so absurd and it doesn't actually make sense at the end. There are certain scenes where I think it doesn't know it. That's kind of problematic, but it opens with an impossible, ridiculous premise, and I go, yeah, okay, like, you guys know what you're doing, and so I'm more okay with it.
I also appreciate not an entire movie of my doll's killing people. Hey. That's toy.
Ridiculous. I don't believe. Yeah. And we don't get to that stuff until like the third act.
Yeah.
Which was really not in like a mercy. And it doesn't go on too long. And when it happens, it's like, well, yeah, this is how these people.
It also leads to what I think is the funniest scene in the entire movie, with the cop. That's hilarious, and only gets because we got to that place in the third act of the movie instead of an entire movie of like. Him just denying it, or being like, I didn't do anything, it's the toy, and everyone being like, you're crazy.
Yeah, and he's also kind of a typical character, but really likable.
So is his mom.
Did you have the thing I did where he says he goes to her house every week, but like it's like he lives there. Like he's always there.
Yeah, I assume that was just like a weird time passage thing.
Because I don't I don't know how much time passes in this movie.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't either.
But what I appreciated about the way it handles people not believing him about the doll is that it's not just it's a toy, it can't be killing people. By that point in the movie, it's also in issue of mistaken identity.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more about that. It's more about it's not the doll you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And again, not to give too much away, but I appreciate that it's that we don't have to deal with that argument forever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way in which it's modernized is kind of smart, because like it is all about the technology and the smart home stuff and the cell phone stuff, and I mean that stuff is absurd, because it's absolutely ridiculous. There are really clever ways in which it's used, but the smart home device that Chucky is connected to controls everything in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
We had this conversation driving home. There is this weird thing in this movie where it's kind of like it's in the future, but not.
It's like a year in the future.
Yeah.
It's that what's the there's a phrase, the 30 seconds in the future. It's
Yes.
like 30 seconds in the future.
It's like that. So it feels like you're watching a science fiction film, but then you have to keep reminding yourself what year you live in.
Yeah.
Doesn't it almost feel like
self-driving cars do exist? They're just not on the streets yet.
it's almost like I'm in an 80s audience watching a movie set in the future and then reminding myself, oh yeah, that's right. I can do 99% of the things that they're doing in this movie with my cell phone right now, but we don't yet have self-driving cars. We have the technology. We just haven't implemented it
No,
yet.
they exist.
No, I mean, everybody's not using them all the time.
Yes, okay.
I'm saying we don't have them.
Yes,
we can't go outside.
Yes, yeah.
What I said was, the technology's there, we're just not implementing it everywhere yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And we're working on it.
yeah.
It's a whole thing. We are very close to having just mass-produced self-driving cars.
I like, and again, we have fun with it, but it also kind of makes me uncomfortable because we have some pretty. I mean, it's really over the top, but we have some pretty good satire in this movie about giving kids technologies that they're not ready for yet, and giving them too much access to stuff, and letting them control, like too much access and too much control. And kids growing up too fast. I don't think it's just because we're in a rated R movie that every kid in this movie swears constantly. Maybe I'm reading too much into that, but it felt like there was a statement being made there.
I don't feel like that was a statement. I feel like that's how kids talk.
Yeah, but not a lot in movies. And so, putting it in this movie, I think there's maybe a little bit of a point being made there.
I don't know. Like, I feel like in the 80s, kids used to talk more like that in movies. And then we watered it down. It's partially because everything's PG-13 now, but
yeah. But when this one does it,
yeah,
I don't know. I think like I said, I think a lot of movies don't have kids doing that, and except for rated R horror movies where they're like kids can swear and like It does it, but it's also set in the 80s and is more like one of those kinds of movies. But it's got a lot of stuff about we've got kids using a sort of kind of new technology, or at least an update of the technology with the buddy dolls and the smart home devices, but we also keep depicting them in this movie doing what they do in real life with cell phones, where they're just not paying attention to anyone
and just on their phone.
Yeah, this strikes me as the ultimate letting the TV babysit your kids movie.
But also, in a weird way, Andy out in the hall is way less depressing in this movie than it would be if it was made in 1985, where the kid would just be sitting in the hall. Here, Andy's sitting in the hall like he's doing something,
That's
he's at least entertained. It's not that much better, but it is better.
There's this weird motif that goes through this movie of people making their kids go outside in the dark. And I don't understand that, but it's hilarious. How did you feel about Mark Hamill's voice performance?
I don't know. I feel like I'm not sure, because sometimes I feel like there's real subtle nuances that only a seasoned voice actor could do, and then other times I'm anyone could have done this. It doesn't matter that it's Mark Hamill. I'm not sure where I land. I think he did a good job. I don't know.
Yeah. It starts sounding like him in the third act when he gets really super evil, and there's not a clear transformation, and so that's weird, right? Where like it's sort of it's like it's trying to play like he has transformed. Maybe it's because he's sort of kind of come to some sort of an epiphany, or like, you know, I've definitively decided that this is what I'm doing and this is who I am. So maybe that's why now he sounds more like Mark Hamill, but it plays to me more like he's the slasher character now, and so he sounds like more like the evil voice that you're used to Mark Hamill doing.
It does not sound like the Joker, which is what I was worried it would sound like.
No, but there are places where he sounds like he's as old as he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not throughout, not until that third act where it's like we just let Mark Hamill's voice finally, come out. And there are a couple places where he does sound like the Joker to me from the Arkham games.
Well, and there's a couple of places.
He gets to those gravelly places.
Most of the time, I'm not thinking about being Mark Hamill.
Me neither until that third act.
Yeah. There's a couple of lines. I think like his first line. I don't remember this, but like the first line, I'm like, that is Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
But then I stopped thinking about it. But no, in the third act, he definitely gets more Mark Hamill-y.
One of the things that's cool about doing about this premise, about this version of it, is that the kid and the doll have an actual relationship, because in the original Child's Play, obviously he thinks it's just a doll, and in this he thinks it's just a piece of technology, but one that can interact with him. And so there's this weird ambiguity for the kid of, he seems sort of self-aware, but I'm assuming it's just what the doll does.
But it's also that like you care about your car kind of a thing.
Sure.
Where like we as human beings imprint on non-real things as if they're actually sentient.
But one of the things I like about this over the original is, and again, it's a different premise, but one of the things I like about this over the original is that the kid, or the doll actually does like the kid to some degree. Like, it seems to, and it becomes like a really, horrifying abusive relationship, but it's like, but in the original, it's just a serial killer that wants to get out and get his soul in somebody else's body. Like that's all it is. And there's a little bit more substance to this, which is kind of cool. I think as a movie, it's actually a better movie
than the first one.
Than the first one.
Maybe.
I don't know if I would say over 2, but
yeah.
But yeah, I was impressed with it.
I'm hoping they get a sequel.
I was kind of surprised. I don't know if I want sequels to this.
They said they want to make them.
Yeah, of course they do, because everything's got to be franchise bait. But like,
I mean, it's a franchise. It's already a franchise.
Well, no, I get that, but like, it's a cool remake of the original because so many of these things like don't understand the material that they're dealing with, and this kind of like comes up with its own and goes a different direction, but has a lot of love and reverence for the original thing it made. That's the most impressive thing to me about like that. Like, that's my best thing, is that it's such a reinvention, but still has some of those sensibilities at the core.
It's one of the rare times we've ever done a thing like this where it's so far from the original, but like it's still good.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have seen Buddy the movie, but
that's the thing, is this didn't have to be Child's Play.
No, but like it would be a fine horror movie if it had nothing to do with Child's Play.
And that's sad, and that's the cynical part, is that if it weren't for the brand recognition, they wouldn't make any money. And so like you had to have that. But if there is any integrity in this movie at all, it's that the people that made it then made a thing that stands on its own really well. And like once you're there, if you could get people that like horror films to go in the theater and sit down and watch this, and it's not a Child's Play thing, they'd probably like it. Like, I don't think you have to have any appreciation for Child's Play to like this movie.
No,
and it's really cool how little it's relying on nostalgia.
I also think that the Child's Play name is probably what's going to hurt it, because I don't think a lot of people actually know that the Chucky movies are called Child's Play.
That's probably true.
I think that's actually going to maybe hurt the film.
You think it's possible that there are folks that won't even realize that this is a remake of another movie?
Yes. Well, once you get to, like, if you're in the movie theater, like, it's Chucky.
Yeah.
Like, once he calls him Chucky, you're like, I guess that's Chucky. I think there are many people who will not see this movie, because they don't know it's a remake.
By the way we get to that name is dumb.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't like that at all.
It is. Well, one of my biggest issues is that he glitches out, like, a lot. I mean, he stops glitching out later, but all they did was... I'm not
sure why.
All they did was remove the inhibitors?
Yeah.
That shouldn't affect the software. It shouldn't make him glitch. I thought that was really weird from the get-go.
Well, I mean, like, maybe it's just he's messing with the code and, like, it removed that stuff, but we don't know what else it did, maybe. But then he's fine after that, though.
And he's not, like, coding, right? Like, it's just
true.
Remove safety parameters.
That's true. No, he's not coding. That's true.
Like, he didn't go in and mess with code. Like, it's a button on the computer. I don't think he should be glitching out. So, like,
yeah, and I agree
and
with
we
that.
use that as, like, an excuse to... Well, we use it as an excuse to get the toy to Andy in the first place, but then also, like, for things like getting him his name.
Yeah.
Because how do you get to that name?
Yeah, and it's just that... It's that silly thing that we're always complaining about with superhero movies where, like, we can't come up with a natural way to get there, so we just write something silly in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting that they're not all called Chucky in this, and that they went with the buddy name, because I mentioned this to you when I made you watch the first Child's Play.
They didn't go with Good Guy.
No, they didn't. They didn't do that. The Chucky doll is I've mentioned this to you before, is based on a thing that I had when I was a kid in the late 80s, early 90s, called My Buddy. And this uses Buddy. I think that's really interesting. Like, they went back to that. Or they didn't, and they just came to that on their own. But I think it's funny that we've gone full circle, and now the thing is basically called that, and also is a supercomputer.
It's weird that it's not Good Guy, though. Although, I have a theory that they literally only have the rights to the names. Because my understanding is, and usually how this kind of thing works is you have the right to everything that's in that first movie. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they had the rights to Chucky, like Andy, and Child's Play.
I think the reason they go with Buddy with an I instead of the whole Good Guy thing is...
Because you could do a Good Guy with an I.
You could, but the Buddy thing sounds a lot like that kind of technology. It sounds like a smart home device. And also, the Good Guy thing was... it was intended to create a clear contrast where, well, he's not a good guy, he's a bad guy, and and like
it was really subtle.
He's not being possessed by a bad guy, so
yeah.
This is my analysis.
And he's kind of, but he is kind of still a buddy.
Yeah, I don't know. That relationship is
buddy.
As interesting as it can be in a silly slasher flick. And I mean, like, we're not going to even get into the third act here, but like, I kind of question ultimately where we end up taking that.
I have questions with some of the kills, period, where, like, I'm like, okay, but how does this help you get to Andy?
It's nice that we have motivations.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's not a given.
No.
But, like, throughout most of the film, with some exceptions, Chucky is... trying to kill people that he thinks are, like, hurting Andy or making him feel bad, and gets them out of the way, right?
The big one is the buzzsaw sequence.
Yeah.
I don't know why we kill that person.
Just so that he can get out of the room, I guess.
He's running around!
Because
it's like turn lights off. It's like he could have left.
Yeah, no, I'm with
That's
you.
vindictive.
I'm with you there, but the bigger question for me was why he intentionally tries to creep Andy out in places.
Yes.
It's like, you think
that's it being a horror movie and breaking...
But, yeah, and so, like, that transcends the motivation. But I have a feeling I enjoyed this a lot.
Yeah,
I
that was good.
Probably watch this again, which I'm surprised that I'm saying, but, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's a lot better than I thought it would be.
It's hilarious.
It's
consistently
It's actually a lot better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, me too.
I was expecting a real cheap, cynical cash grab, and maybe on the business end it is that, but the people making it seem to be having fun and wanting to be making the movie they're making.
I think sometimes accidentally that cynicism leads to good product, because the people go, well, as long as it's called that and it has the right iconography, make whatever you want. And so sometimes you'll get lucky with that, where it's like, if there's not anybody from on high monkeying with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to be what happened here, where it's like, we just want this movie made.
Yeah. Yeah, make a movie called Child's Play with Chucky.
And they did that.
Yes, they did.
And it was really fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, thanks a lot for watching, folks. Leave your comments if you saw the Child's Play remake. Let us know what you thought of it, and we will see you again very shortly with another one. Thanks so much for watching, folks. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
Bye, everybody.